Chill Talk.
Chill Talk.
Chill Talk.
Chill Talks.
Welcome to Chill Talks Podcast, your companion in your chill time.
Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Chill Talks Podcast, where you discuss anything and everything over a cup of coffee. So I am your host, PJ, and today we are joined by a very special guest. And without further ado, I want to introduce our guest. He is the former National Defense Secretary as well as the presidential candidate this upcoming 2022 election. So let us all welcome Sir Norberto Gonzales. Thank you so much for being a part of this show po. To jumpstart into this, kasi to be honest po, una kong nakilala yung pangalan nyo during yung nag-viral na speech nyo, yung closing statement nyo at the SMNI debate. And during that time po, how did your team feel nung nalaman yung nag-viral yung speech nyong yun?
Big surprise. Kasi I didn't think that was a good closing statement for the program.
Kasi po parang ano tawag niyan? Some people commented na parang nang-reverse psychology daw kayo.
Hindi, talagang totoo.
And speaking of that, this is connecting with your recent speech po pala dun sa SMNI. In delivering your speeches or your talks with different groups of people, how do you practice speaking na genuine ang approach nyo? Kasi I think most people have a struggle with that, and on your part, Sir Gonzales, napaka-natural po siya sa inyo. So how do you do that kind of speech delivery?
Walang practice. Natural talaga yun. Even during the time that I was in office for almost a decade, wala akong speech writers.
So more on natural delivery na lang po, kasi I think most of us napaka-critical sa mga ganyang bagay, and you shattered those kinds of expectation with your heartfelt. The way you speak, kasi napaka-mellow nyo po talaga magsalita on all of your interviews. And another one na gusto ko lang po na curious ako, kasi you appeared in Ted Filon, and nag-guest din po kayo kay Sir Jimmy Bondoc, and you also speak in front of students sa mga school forums. Ano po yung differences when it comes to the difference in experiencing being interviewed by the media, sharing your opinions to students, and being in casual conversations like Jimmy Bondoc po?
Well, lahat except for Jimmy Bondoc, no? Kasi talagang I enjoyed myself there, no? Kasi very light yung kanyang interview, although medyo natangay din siya ng konti, nag-serious din kami in the most part of this program. If you will watch it, you will see.
Yes po.
Yung kay Ted Filon, Ted Filon is one of the most veteran, is the real veteran and an icon of our media world, no? Kaya medyo I wish we will have more time, kasi magaling talaga si Ted Filon magkuha ng question. Nasabi ko nga sa kanya, alam mo Ted, kasi hindi naman ako leading candidate, nasa bottom na ako eh. Sabi ko, dapat ang ini-interview mo ng todo yung sa number 1 o number 2. Sabi niya sa akin, unfortunately sir, hindi pa ako sinasagot sa aking invitation. Sabi ko, baka sila ang mamuno sa bayan dahil ako nasa bottom eh. Baka sila pa ang mamuno kasi I have this how will I call it, tragic fate na sinasabi ng tao, galing mo, pwede mong patakbuhin ng gobyerno ng maayos, pero hindi ka namin iboboto kasi hindi ka naman mananalo. What a reasoning, pero wala tayong magagawa, taong bayan natin.
Yes, I think based on your statement po, parang yun din yung sinabi ng mga tao to the late Miriam Defensor Santiago during her candidacy, na she is good pero hindi namin siya iboboto kasi hindi siya katulad ni Duterte, hindi daw siya katulad ni Rojas or ni Grace for that time, which is a bit sad, pero we digress. It's a huge topic po pero pag-usapan. Pero one of the things that you said in your interviews na I want to get your opinion is that yung kailangan natin maging involved sa conflict within Ukraine and Russia. And one of the things na sinasabi po ng karamihan is that bakit naman po daw tayo magkakaroon ng pake sa conflict ng mga bansa na wala naman tayong impact, hindi naman natin nararamdaman yung conflict. So how would us as young people, as citizens, how can we show that we care to the Ukraine-Russian war na even though hindi naman po tayo masyadong directly affected?
It's not just about care. No, it's not just about care. Normal sa atin, sa mga sangkatauhan, young or old, rich or poor, na meron tayong compassion. No? Do it your way. Yung compassion, hindi pwedeng, walang words yan na unique na dapat ginagaya. Meron tayong way of expressing our compassion, and let's do that. Number 2, dapat unawain natin na hindi totoo na walang connection sa atin ang Ukraine crisis. No? Number 1, yung sinabi ni President Putin at saka ng French ambassador are particularly disturbing. Sabi ni President Putin, yung mga bansa na makikialam sa ginagawa ko, makakaranas sila ng isang ganti na hindi pa nila naranasan sa kasaysayan ng daigdig.
Yes po.
That's a very, very serious threat, no? Ang ibig sabihin niya, nuclear war. Yung French minister naman, I don't know what he was thinking. Sabi niya, dapat malaman ni President Putin, meron din tayong nuclear arsenal. But those two statements are very critical. That simply means that, alam mo, pagka nag-nuclear ang level ng bakbakan mo, may kasama ng nuclear arms. Buong mundo kasali dyan. Kasi it will affect the world in a very serious way. Kaya kailangan ang Pilipinas, pati ang mga kababayan natin, magsimula na magsabi na tigil na yan. Ibaba natin yung tempo ng gera. Kung hindi natin mapigil, at least ibaba natin yung tempo. Tanggalin natin yung nuclear issue, no? And I think even the United Nations is already issuing such a statement. May pangalawa pang epekto sa atin ang Ukraine. Kung hindi ka lumalabas ng bahay, siguro hindi mo malalaman na ang presyo ng ating gasolina ay taas ng taas ito ang mental level. No? Yan ay epekto ng Ukraine war, no? Kasi Russia is among the biggest supplier of oil. Pero hindi sa atin yan, papuntang Europa yan. Pero ang problema sa oil, pag tumaas ang presyo sa ibang panig ng daigdig, tinataas din sa panig ng daigdig dito sa daigdig natin. Yun ang masama dyan. Kaya, sabi ko, kailangan ang strategy. Of course, ginagawa na natin yung bibili ng subsidy sa mga drivers, etc. But these are palliatives yan. Palliatives na action yan. Dahil hindi ko sinasabing masama. Pero we are forced to do these palliatives, but these are palliatives. Ang strategic mong na dapat ginagawa ay dapat itaas mo yung supply ng oil by encouraging the oil-producing nations to increase their pumping capacity. Itaas mo yan. Dagdagan mo yung supply para bumaba ang oil. Ginawa yan ni Boris Johnson ng Britain. Inag-appeal sa Saudi Arabia at sa UAE. Ang niremind ko, nasa GMA News ngayon, fortunately, na lumalabas, sinabi ko doon na, how about ASEAN? Kasi ang ASEAN region, maraming Muslim. Alam mo, there is such a thing as very noble ito na sentiment prevailing among Muslim countries all over the world. They have what they call, I forgot the term, yung defining the world of Muslims, governed by a very important sentiment, the sentiment of brotherhood. Ito yung sentiment of brotherhood is paramount, is above all interests among Muslims. Kaya kahit nag-hesitate kasi yung Saudi at sa UAE, makabumbali sila ng Russia, di ba? Their own interest, kinakabahan sila. But I think it's time for our Muslims in the Philippines and in the region to start speaking, right? Invoke this very important sentiment. Oy, tinatamaan kami ng paghihirap sa mundo. Brothers, kailangan itaas niyo yung production ng oil. So I recommended to our Philippine government to encourage the BARM. Yan ang community of Muslims natin sila yung official representative, to constitute a committee composed of MNLF and MILF brothers. Yung mga officials nila, alam, malaking connection ng mga yan, to appeal to the OIC countries, yung Organization of Islamic Conference. Very important na yung ating mga Muslim mag-address na kagad doon. Sabihin, please, help humanity, help the world. May gera nangyayari, merong damage na nagagawa. Tulong kayo. Kasi pati kami tinatamaan dito sa ASEAN na region. I hope that works.
It's anong tawag yan? It's a call for solidarity. Ika nga. And,
yes, malakas yan sa mga Muslim.
Yes, and parang given kahit anong personal agenda mo, mas may higit pa rin yung pakikipagkapwa mo sa tao And through
kahit anong national interest ng bansa mo,
yes po.
Mas mataas yun.
Parang the person is higher than the agenda. It's always like that. And to highlight, I think ito lang po ata yung question ko about your previous job as Defense Secretary. And I am curious po, sir, what do you think were the biggest threats until now sa bansa natin outside the Philippines? And ano rin naman po yung mga kailangan nating bantayan dito sa mismong bansa natin na hindi masyadong napapansin ng karamihan?
Well, yung external threats natin are obvious.
Yes po.
Two external threats are important. Una, nagka-interest ng China sa atin kasi ang tingin nila masyado tayong malapit sa Amerikano to the point that Philippines become a co-conspirator of the United States in threatening their security. Yan, napakalaking problema natin yan na dapat nire-repair yan. No? Number two, ang nangyari sa atin, we have Filipinos all over the world. You cannot name a country na walang Pilipino. You know, that means that any disturbances in any country in the world concern ang gobyerno natin. Kaya yung ating intelligence service, sinasabi ko nung kapanahon ko, very alert kayo in giving us free warning. Dapat maaga yung warning ng ating intel all over the world kasi kailangan naghahanda tayo kung paano natin ililigtas yung mga kababayan natin sa mga bayan-bayan. Maganda na nagre-remit sila sa atin ng dollars. Pero lumalaki naman ang sakit ng ulo ng gobyerno kung paano sila poproteksyonan all over the world. Yan ang threat. Dalawa, yung interest ng mga superpowers sa region natin at ang presence ng ating communities all over the world.
Okay.
We are not a superpower. But our head is like that of a superpower.
Kasi ang dami nating binabantayan per countries, may nagmo-monitor po sa atin How about
monitor talaga yan dapat.
How about inside of the Philippines po? Do we have identified threats na kailangan natin mas pansinin as Filipinos?
Alam mo, in a sense, malapit nang masolve. Ang hindi lang natin masolve yung mga politiko natin. Dahil sa ang focus yata ng attention nila, lalo na yung mga dynasties, ay yung kanilang sarili. No? Pati yung pangangampanya natin, for example, ang issues na tinitingnan nila ay kung paano manalo at all cost. Dahil hindi sa dahilan talaga makapagbibigay sila ng tamang serbisyo sa mga mamamayan. Kasi kung ang gusto nila magbigay ng tamang paglilingkod, dapat by now, ang discussion nila ay hindi yung paramihan ng rally, palakihan ng rally o para may pahabaan ng motorcade. No? Dapat pinag-uusapan nila, may crisis na ngayon Ako nga I don't like to do this but I offered even my participation kung tatawagin kami lahat ni President Duterte. Kasi alam mo, crisis, hindi iintayin yung eleksyon natin na matapos. Hindi iintayin ng crisis kung sino ang magiging next president. At crisis, nandito na ngayon. Ang presidente natin, si President Duterte. His action will matter most. Hindi yung darating na presidente. The current president's action will matter. Kailangan ito cooperation. Itong tunay na unity na dapat sinasabi.
Okay.
Yun eh. Kaya yan ang aking nakikita today. So, anong pinakamalubhang problema ng ating bansa internally? Our politics is number one.
Mhm.
Yung ating rebellion, alam mo, yung mga, both MILF and MNLF have listened to the Muslim leaders of the world. They were given advice, in fact, in the spirit of brotherhood. Sinabihan sila, tama na ang panggigiran nyo. No more violence in the Philippines. There's only one excuse why you must engage in violence. If there is religious oppression. Hindi naman natin ino-oppress ang ating mga brother Muslims. Malayang-malaya silang mag-practice ng kanilang faith. During my time, yun ang number one sa agenda. Sa security, make sure na hindi magiging religious war ang war natin sa South. And I think we have succeeded. At saka nakikita mo naman, ang MNLF nagrereklamo pa ng konti kasi hindi sila kasama sa gobyerno na ibinigay sa Muslim Mindanao. Ang nasa gobyerno ngayon naman ay MILF. Pero mukhang nagkakaroon sila ng internal reconciliation. I heard that Muslim Insema, chairman of the MNLF, has just been given a cabinet position in the BARM. Magandang panyan. Ang problema na lang isa sa internal, yung mga komunista. Sa komunista naman, isang sentence na lang ang pag-uusapan natin eh. Kasi yung armed struggle is fundamental, no, to the achievement of state power. Ang tingin ng mga komunista, there is no other way except armed struggle to seize state power in a given country. Maraming bansa sa mundo like Spain, nung wala na yung diktadura, yung mga komunista sa Espanya, tinanggal nila yung armed struggle. Nakilahok sila sa democratic contest. Sa Nicaragua, mas malaki ang Nicaraguan revolution kaysa dito sa atin. Sa El Salvador, the same. Pero the world was able to negotiate that these groups give up arms struggle. Dito sa Pilipinas, we have done our part as a government. We say, legal ang maging komunista sa Pilipinas, constitutionally guaranteed. Nagtataka ako dito sa mga komunista natin kung bakit hanggang ngayon tago pa ng tago. They don't have to. If they are really convinced of their ideology and they're proud of it, they're willing to offer their lives for it. Why are they not surfacing as a legal entity? Why are they not registering as a legal political party in the Philippines and give up the NPA? That's all. Yun na lang kaunting problema natin sa internal problem natin sa Pilipinas.
Yes. And I think one of the causes also, may I add in po, Sir Gonzales, isa rin po ata sa, kaya takot din sila mag-come out, come out of the forest is yung understanding ng mga tao when it comes to the principles of socialism and communism. Na pag sinabi kasing komunista or yung naniniwala sa sinasabi ni Karl Marx, automatic ang notion is namamaril, ng bubuli ng tao, which is not the case because the principle of the Marxism or socialism principle ay napakaganda, and sadyang the actions being portrayed ay yun yung nabubuo sa mindset natin. So pero pag pinag-usapan pa natin ng Marxism and socialism, baka mapahaba yung usapan natin dito.
Isa lang ang mali sa tingin ko, given the conditions of the world today, yung armed struggle.
Yes.
Tanggalin lang yan. We can talk all night. We have to.
True. True. And at the same time po, in connection to what you said kanina doon sa problem natin when it comes to politics, I love what you said that corruption is a problem hindi ng tao kundi ng sistema. And on your part, Sir Gonzales, ano po yung instances of corruption na nakikita natin as Filipinos pero hindi natin alam na corruption na pala yun? That's why hindi natin alam kung ang isang politiko ay corrupt, or minsan nga sinasabi natin na ay okay lang corrupt, may nagagawa naman. So how's your take po sa mga ganong situation of corruption, sir?
Well, number one, hindi totoo na hindi natin nakikita at nahahalata ang corruption. Everybody knows it.
Yun nga po.
It has become ours. It's accepted because it has become the system. No? Sabi sa akin ng mga kaibigan ko noon, kung gusto mong tanggalin yung corruption, kailangan maunawaan mo muna if there is corruption in the system or if corruption has become the system, the approach will be different. No? Ngayon, ang pagka sinabi mo na systemic na yung problema ng corruption, dapat medyo bawas-bawasan mo yung attitude towards witch hunting. This is not a police matter. This is not yung hahanapin po ito, korupto, huli natin. Walang mangyayari dyan, ginagawa na natin yan O si Marcos nga sa bagay drug problem nga pala yun. Nag-sample pa siya, nagpapatay siya ng isa para sample, no? Sa Singapore, in fact, merong nag-suicide na isang minister kasi nabisto ng corruption. Kaya, yung issue ng corruption is a systemic problem. Sabi nga sa akin mga kaibigan ko, ang kailangan mo dyan, hindi makapare. It's not even a moral, it's a moral issue. But the solution may not be moral at all. The solution is systems. Tingnan mo na lang sa gobyerno natin. The more, kasi the prevailing philosophy of our governance is mistrust. Kasi sa dami nga ng corruption, you don't trust anyone anymore. In the process, that mistrust is the one correcting more avenues for corruption. For example, in a transaction in government, the more steps, kasi wala kang tiwala, kaya katakot-takot na check and balance yan, no? The more steps, the more opportunities for corruption. But if you make your systems very clear, very simple, transparent, yung hindi ka na nangangailangan ng mga professionals para, paano ba to? Ano bang gagawin natin dito? Very difficult yung mga steps. Corruption na yan. Kasi kung bisan mainis ka sa sistema, magbabayad ka na lang. O manunuhol ka na lang. So corruption as a system, needs a systemic approach. And I think we can solve it.
When it comes to that po, sir, saan tayo, ano yung pinaka first step na kailangan natin i-take in order to have that system na ma-challenge yung system of corruption na meron tayo ngayon?
Well, first thing is we trust. As a fundamental philosophy in governance and in the way we deal with people is trust. Number two, lahat ng gagawin nating steps, ikita mo ba lahat ng forms natin pagkahaba-haba? Name, birthday, where you live, SSS, number, gano'n. Bakit gano'n? Kung minsan wala ka namang hinihingi dalawang papel yung form na pinipill up mo. Why? Because you don't trust. Pakalokohin tayo nito. At least alam natin kung sana habulin. Sino ba mga kamag-anak nito? Sino mga kapatid nito? Saan ba ito nagtatrabaho? To make things more complicated. So and then ito aayusin natin. So we will really hire a lot of systems analysts. And there's one marching order. Keep things transparent and simple. First step.
Parang tawag niyan, yung sinasabi lagi sa amin ng elementary, simplicity is the key. And
yes.
And sometimes there are problems that take simple solutions but we complicate those. That's why doon na nagkakaroon ng lapses, especially in
alam mo yung if you don't trust,
yes,
walang natutuloy. Ikaw magpo-propose ka, ganda ng tingin mo. Ay, di mo pwede yan kasi ganito yan. Sabi, hindi naman tungkol sa sinasabi mo ang sinasabi. Yung ikinokontra sa iyo, hindi yun, walang kakaugnayan yun sa sinasabi mo. But because of mistrust, walang nangyari. Ang gagawin natin, hindi na tayo kikilos.
So parang ano po siya, tiwala siya from both ends. We trust the government and the government should also trust us as a citizen, hindi yung dati na di ko napapangalanan yung sangay ng gobyerno, yung nagsasabi na hindi daw magbibigay ng ayuda tapos ang dami pang hinihinging requirements, pero nakikita na nila naghihirap yung pamilya. But I digress. Moving.
Walang tiwala.
Yes, kaya nga po. And I think one of all the candidates, that is one of the best perspective in corruption na observahan ko, kasi you're not technically pointing out to a certain person. You are not identifying a certain population na corrupt. sinasabi, it's a system. Since it is a system, people only respond to that system. So, kailangan baguhin yung sistema para yung tao magbago din. And with that, shift muna po tayo doon sa, kasi since lahat po ngayon ng mga presidential candidates ay lahat na expose na sa iba't ibang interviews, mga hot seats, mga talagang gigisahin yung principles nyo as a president. Pero of all the debates, of all the interviews po na na-attendan nyo at yung narinig nyo rin yung mga sides ng ibang presidential candidates, ano po yung mga topics, problems na hindi masyadong napag-uusapan ng mga candidates that should also be highlighted sa mga Filipinos?
Very important yung education. No? While people are talking about poverty, kawawa naman, mga mahihirap, dapat tulungan. Pero, alam mo, ang tinitingnan dapat yung sistema rin yan eh. Sistema din yan, kunyari, sa edukasyon natin, very evident yung divide between rich and poor.
Mm-hmm.
Diba? Tingnan mo yung standard of education in yung mga schools, universities for the rich. Tingnan mo, di ba mas mataas ang standard? Dito naman para sa mahirap. Tingnan mo, ano sasabihin? Diyan mo na, pang mahirap lang naman yan. Total, ang mga gumagraduate yan, ang mga ambisyon naman yan, maging maid lang o utusan doon sa abroad. So, huwag na natin pansinin yan. So, how can we be first world? How can we be first world? And how can there be social justice in the country if you allow this divide between rich and poor to continue? Kailangan one standard for all. You're rich, you're poor. Isali na natin, you're young, you're old. Kasi ang mga magulang ngayon parang nag-aaral lalo kasi sila nagwagawa ng assignment ng mga anak nila.
Yes.
One standard for all.
Mm-hmm.
And then once we have attained this commitment to have one standard for all, ang gagawin naman simple lang eh. Yung mga private schools, sasabihin natin, sige, itaas niyo pa ang antas, tutulungan namin kayo. Yung public school naman sabihin natin, humabol kayo, tutulungan din kayo ng gobyerno. And then the next point, for example, ay dapat yung standard na o yung one standard na sinasabi natin should be at a level, na you're actually acquiring the best knowledge and skills that is available in the world today. Kasi kung hindi yan, hindi tayo makakaabot. Lagi tayong mahirap na bansa. I think this should be discussed. Kasi alam mo, ito lipunan to eh. Tingnan mo ang attitude ng mga kandidato natin. Alam nila may mayaman at mahirap eh. Hindi naman nila ini-erase yung divide eh. Hindi encourage pa nga eh. Tingnan mo si Marcos. Nadinig mo ba yung sinabi niya tungkol sa Galugdo? Sabi ni Marcos, hey, walang dokonto. I mean, I don't mean to attack him. Pero natatawa lang ako. Sabi ni Marcos, yung Galugdo, yan ang pinakamabilis at pinakamadaling palakihin yan eh. Imagine. Hindi yan ba naintindihan? Hindi naman bangus yung Galugdo eh. You see, that's one indication already. Number two, di ba pang mahirap yan? That word pang mahirap yan already indicates that when you look at society, you're already talaga kinukonfirm mo, ina-affirm mo talaga na may divide sa lipunan natin.
Mm-hmm.
Ang nangyari natin, alis niya yung divide. When government looks at the people, only one. People, not rich, not poor.
Mm-hmm. Parang ano po siya, it's kind of an objective approach when it comes sa mga pagtrato sa mga Pilipino. Kasi, yun nga, from schools, I think, minsan pinapaboran yung mga schools na well-known na mayaman yung schools compared sa mga state colleges when hiring for, when job hunting usually. Yun yung mga nagiging struggles din. And through that one standard that you are planning po, sir, talagang kahit saan ka magtapos, everyone has this. Pag nakapasa ka sa qualification ng national standard natin in education, you are qualified for the jobs na papasukan nyo.
Yeah.
Which is good. From what I observe from your past work ay kadalasan puro kayo sa behind the scenes na from behind the scenes, ibig sabihin, hindi kayo lagi na expose sa media for your accomplishments. And how does that kind of experience gives you an edge para pag nanalo kayo as presidents, alam nyo na yung kalakaran when handling different forms of government?
Kaya ako tumakbo dahil diyan kahit matanda na ako eh. Kasi sa tingin ko sa mga nangyayari ngayon, kailangan yung aking, yung mga naranasan ko sa pagsusolve ng mga problema. At hindi naman ako makikipagyabangan sa iba. Kaya sabi ko baka sakaling makapasok na maayos. Kasi hindi naman ako nakikipagkompetensya eh. Basta yung kailangan gawin, dapat gawin. So yun ang importante. And more important, kasi kung talagang gusto nating ma-achieve, kunyari yung maging first world, we will require the cooperation of the entire society. Kailangan, rather than saying that you're the best, you're the most intelligent, what is important is to tap all the intelligence existing within that community or society. Kaya ilabas mo lahat dyan. Pag sabasamahin mo, hindi kaya na isang tao yan eh. Hindi ako Superman. You know, no president is a Superman or an angel for that matter. Kailangan yung nabubuo mo yung lipunan towards a common direction. Yun ang important. Sa karanasan ko sa trabaho, lagi ako nasa likod kasi pagka nagyabang-yabang ka sa gobyerno, 90% of your time will be used in competing. I mean, bakbakan kayo dyan. Ako pinakamagaling, ganito yan. Pag tahimik ka dyan, trabaho ka lang, dami mo nagkagawa.
Anong tawag po nito? Parang you give the spotlight to the others para mas lalo silang nagpe-perform. Ano tawag niyan?
Yes.
There's a term for parang delegation siya. Nagde-delegate ka ng mga certain, dito ka magaling, o sige, dyan ka. Dito ka magaling, dun ka. Kung di ka magaling dito, o di may iba kang ano. Hindi nyo, ano tawag niyan? Like you said po, hindi kayo nagko-compete. And, which is the good thing. And parang, based from what you said, kukunin ko siya dito sa next question ko na from your speech doon sa SMNI closing nyo, sinabi nyo po na we should vote for what is right or for what we believe is right. Pero during this election po, Sir Gonzales, how can the Filipino determine kung ang boto namin ay galing sa prinsipyo namin at hindi lang dahil sa personal bias namin? Kasi I think that those two are very different things. Naboboto ako because of my personal bias rather than voting because gusto kong umunlad talaga ang bansa.
Well, you go to the element of trust. Trust the people. Trust the simple people. You know, they will appreciate. Kaya ako, sabi ko nga, itong kampanya, actually this is an educational period. This is the time when we will be giving the right information to our people to make the right decisions. Now, basta bigay lang ang bigay. Tingnan natin how they will decide later. Ang sa paggaling, alam mo, I hope that I don't know if I have enough time. Kasi sinasabi mong bias. Ang bias natin ngayon, doon tayo sa panalo. Parang sabong yan eh. Sabi niya, yung sabong, doon tayo sa malakas na manok. Silipin natin, magaling dito tayo. Pero alam mo, meron lang ako isa sasabihin sa'yo. Sinabi to sa isang kaibigan ko na sa Bungero eh. Alam mo sa Pintakasi, sabi niya, Pintakasi alam mo yun, mga 5 manok yun, nagbabakbakan eh, hindi lang dalawa, mga 5 yan, sabi niya. Lagi akong tumatama dyan, sabi niya. Kasi yung pinakamagagaling na manok na 2 na nagbabakbakan, pagdating ng dulo, patay pareho yun.
True.
Sabi ko nga, ang naalala, yung pinakamahina kasi takbo yun eh. Siya lang ang buhay eh. Sabi ko, baka Pintakasi itong eleksyon natin, baka makatsyempo ako, magulat ang lahat.
Oo. Ito yan parang from behind the scene win. Pero given the situation po ngayon, sir, parang there is a high chance na tumaas na ang rankings ng mga ibang underdog candidates natin for presidency because of the way social media works. Madaling mag-viral na ngayon. More people can get more exposed. So parang anong tawag niyan, sir, kung doon sa sabong may laban pa yung may laban pa, lahat ng manok may laban, hindi lang lahat ng manok may laban.
Kaya lang natutuwa ako diyan, kaya lang I don't know. Kung aabutin ang panahon kasi talaga ang laki ng reaction sa social media. na bigyan ng pagkakataon yung lahat.
Yes.
No? Eh, sabi ko, hindi totoo na yung 5 nasa itaas, yun ang preference ng lipunan eh. Kasi nung si JC Casuho at si Boy Abunda, ginawa niya exclusive yung 5, di ba?
Yes.
But after that, ang laki ng reaction ng social media. Eh bakit? 10 pa naman Bakit 5 lang? Ibig sabihin, there is no decision na nakapili na doon sa 5.
True.
Kasi kung may nakapili doon sa 5, wala nang reklamo. Tapos, biglang pinagsalita yung 4 doon sa natitirang 5. Anong nangyari? Sabi ng mga tao, baka mas mabuti dito lang tayo sa 4 kaysa doon sa naunang, di ba?
True.
Hindi imagine that, di ba? It confirms what you're saying. Nag-iisip ang taong bayan.
Ang maganda nga po ngayon, hindi na siya ang style of election natin, hindi na siya katulad the previous years na parang ini-inject lang sa atin yung ganitong politiko. Ngayon, we are given the opportunity to speak out our feedbacks, and buti na lang po, sir, it's a good time for you to run as a president, kasi imagine natin if you run before na hindi pa talaga uso ang social media, ang labanan is
wala, lalampasan ko.
At least ngayon, yun nga, tulad nga ng lahat ng manok ay may laban na. And at the same time po, Sir Gonzales, anong tawag po nito? In this world of social media, information, lahat ng mga one click away na lang ang mga lahat, parang sigurado na tayo na alam natin ng lahat. Ano ang kahalagahan, sir, by having faith in God in general, regardless of your belief, kung ano yung religion? Why is it important na sa panahon ngayon magkaroon pa rin tayo ng faith sa unknown? Technically unknown, we don't know what God is there, what kind of God is there, pero we still believe in a God. How would that improve our mindset as a people, given na lahat ng gusto natin sa mundo ay madali lang natin ma-access?
Hindi ko matanda na, pero sabi ni Pope Francis just today, sabi niya, ang maganda sa matanda, meron tayong parang, what will I say, may means tayo na makaunawa ng sangkatauhan na hindi pwedeng takpan ng inclination ngayon na pleasure, ganyan. At meron pa tayong pagkakataon na hanapin ang katotohanan, ang nasa puso. Yeah, marami yun di ba yun? Nakalimutan ko, pasensya ka na, 75 ako . But I would encourage you to visit the statement of Pope Francis. And then, another one. Alam mo, nung ako'y nasa pwesto, isa sa tinignan kong mabuti, sinabi, anong role ng faith sa stability ng lipunan? National Security Advisor, you have to search for that. Kaya lahat ng klase ng religion, pinuntahan ko yan. Medyo pinakausap ko yung mga leader. Iglesia, kay Pastor Kibuloy, kay Brother Mike Bilarde, mga obispo. Pinakausap natin yan, mga Muslim. There's something, except for one or two, there's something common to all religions, the teachings. And this teaching is about how we relate to each other. Very important yan. It seems that our God, and in the case of Catholic, the Son of God who came to us, is very particular on how we will relate to each other. Kaya nga yung Catholic Church, may tinatawag na social teachings of the Catholic Church. When you go over the social teachings of the Catholic Church, tapos, ibigay mo, kunyari, wag mo sabihin Catholic Church, pabigay mo sa ibang religion. They will say yes. They will say yes to most of its principles. Talaga, in the end, our relations with God has something to do with our relation with each other. Very important yan. Kaya, ano ang role ng ating faith? Wow! Hindi mo pag inunawa mo yan, hindi mo na kayang tanungin, hindi mo na dapat tanungin kasi human relations ang pinag-uusapan . How will we treat each other? How will countries relate with each other? Kaya ako reklamo ko sa China, hindi ko nirereklamo yung kung ano dyan . Nirereklamo ko Ang problema na sa inyo, you lost your respect for us.
Mhm.
How can we relate to each other? How can we address itong conflict? Dalawang ginawa niyo. Una, pinagdudahan niyo kami, natuta kami ng Amerikano. Pangalawa, hindi niyo kami nire-respeto. Tinatambakan niyo kami ng katakot-takot na droga.
Mhm.
Why? What have we done to the Chinese? Ganun eh. Yan. Ang tingin ko dyan.
And also parang to add, mag-bounce lang po ako ng idea doon sa sinabi niyo po. Kasi ang nangyayari kasi ngayon sa religion is that ang lumalabas ng argument is that whether or not God exists. Parang diyan na umiikot ang mga discussion sa social media, yung pagiging hipokrito daw ng iba't ibang religious group, from Catholic, from Iglesia, from any forms of religious organizations, lumalabas na nagpipreach kayo ng ganito pero iba kayo makipagtrato sa kapwa. Parang it kinda solidify what you said na it's a human thing eh. It's the way we relate to each other kinda reflects on your belief. Parang there's a philosophy on this. I think kay Hume, I forgot the philosopher's name na your belief in God, kung ano yung tingin mo sa Diyos ay kung ano yung tingin mo sa ibang tao. So parang doon nagre-revolve yung faith natin. Kasi if your faith does not allow you to respect, if your faith does not allow you to treat people properly, then maybe your faith is iba na yung faith mo. And
bakit pa na yung pinupuntahan mo?
Oo.
Kamali ka ng exit.
True.
O entrance.
True. And to proceed po, Sir Gonzales, kasi aside from being a secretary or a presidential candidate, you're also a father and a grandfather. So, ano yung mga tinuturo nyo po sa mga anak nyo at apo ninyo? And ano ang nararamdaman nyo na kung yung mga teachings nyo sa mga anak nyo, yun yung nakikita nyo na ginagawa nila sa mga nararating nila ngayon sa buhay nila?
One of my biggest regret in life is being an absentee father and even an absentee grandfather. And sometimes I get surprises that I see in my children and in my grandchildren some parts of me.
Mm-hmm.
How does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
I think they love me and they observe me. Yan. Kaya wag mag-alala ang mga magulang. Kahit ano mangyari. I don't want to say that you guys imitate me na mas para bang pinapansin pa yung trabaho kaysa yung pagiging sa pamilya, no? Pero huwag kayong mag-alala. Kaya huwag mag-alala at mag-ingat. Pagka-smuggler ka, lagot ka. Mga anak mo smugglers. Alam mo, kuya, kita ko yan, may isang pamilya dyan, alam ko, butangero yung anak eh. Yun, kaya ingat tayo. You are an example to your children and grandchildren. Ingat talaga dyan.
And at the same time po, Sir Gonzales, isa sa mga ginagawa ngayon ng mga generation namin, part po ba kuya, millennials and Gen Z, is that laging china-challenge, lagi yung mga perceptions, yung mga kaisipan ng mga nakaraang generation, china-challenge, binabangga, binabago. Pero sa tingin niyo, Sir Gonzales, ano yung mga values ng generation ninyo na dapat dalhin pa rin ng mga tao hanggang ngayon?
There's something that will not... Ako, I'm 75.
Yeah.
Marami din kaming ginaanan na generation.
Mm-hmm.
For example, yung sinasabi ko, our humanity, we can just define that. In the end, like it or not, some things will prevail, like love, like care. Yan, family, respect, nationalism. These are very old issue. Kung titingnan mo yung pinagawa nila Bonifacio at nila Aguinaldo, yung prevailing sentiment at that time is the same today. Ako nga bakit naglalakas loob tumakbo? Yung naranasan ng problema pa rin ngayon . Yung uri ng tao na noon namin, akala ko nakalipas na, akala ko obsolete. I am seeing it in the behavior and attitudes of our young people today. Ganun yan. Kaya yung mga young people, they will have surprises in their lives. Makikita nila pag sila'y tumanda, uy, yung ginagawa namin nung araw, ginagawa ng mga kabataan ngayon. Ganun yun eh. Makikita natin, you cannot change humanity for as long as we remain human.
So parang I kinda correct me if I'm wrong. So it kinda appears that parang history repeats itself.
It's a cycle.
Yeah, it's a cycle, yes. And pero kahit I think even though life repeats itself, pag kung ano yung mga hindi magaganda, sana wag na natin i-repeat.
Alam mo, lilipas din yan. Magpasensya ka lang at maghintay. Be patient. And it will come, you know. Ako nga, nagugulat ako sa mga kabataan ngayon eh. Alam mo, akala ko hindi nagmamahal sa bayan ng kabataan eh. I discovered they probably love our country more than we did. You know? It's surfacing little by little.
Parang hindi natin siya kailangan ipilit. I think it will just bloom naturally. Yeah. And aside po pala doon sa mga naobserbahan nyo sa mga kabataan natin, given your wisdom, given your experience, ano pa yung mga sa panahon ngayon na nagugulat pa rin kayo on how the world works? Kahit hindi po in terms of technology, yung mga social situations na nakikita nyo.
Ako talaga na-iskandalo pa rin ako sa kasalbahihan, kasinungalingan. Alam mo, I'm still surprised given nga our social media. Alam mo, may mga natural na sinungaling eh. Alam mo, pati sa mga presidential, may mga natural na sinungaling. Nagpipilit. Pero alam mo, yan ang maganda sa kabataan natin ngayon. Alam mo, hindi nami-meet in person, sa camera lang. Yung mga anak ko, ay, dad, nagsisinungaling to eh. Tingnan mo yung mata. Tingnan mo yung nahahalata pa rin, di ba? Yan, pero nasusurprise pa rin ako dyan na how dare you lie? Surprising pa sa akin yan.
And I think totoo po yun kasi parang hindi tumingin sa akin nung hindi nag-eye contact. Ay, wala yan. hindi totoo yan.
Ayan na. So, ever part of humanity. So, yun yan. Character natin yan. Natural sa atin yan.
Oo.
Mahalata talaga.
Ay, yung tipong, umiwas sa topic. Ay, hindi yan. Sisinungaling yan. And at the same time po sa this is connected sa mga kabataan kasi this is a fresh topic is yung mandatory militarization nung sa mga kabataan natin from 18. I think you express support on that. And pero regardless po dun, ang tanong ko po kasi sa inyo, Sir Gonzales, ano naman po yung pwede nating, kasi di ba ang purpose for militarization ng mga 18 years old is to have reserve manpower in case of crisis. Pero how would we utilize yung mga katulad namin na frail, na we don't have the physical capacity to engage in the front line? So how can we utilize those skills or utilize the potential ng mga tao na hindi kayang makipagbakbakan sa line of fire natin?
Ang gera is not just about fighting. It's not about just holding a rifle. Kunyari, magaling ka sa strategic thinking. Ito sa planning sector, no? Alam mo talaga, sa gera, kung talagang titingnan mo, ako nagaling ako sa may mga little wars din tayo dito sa atin. Pero may mga tao na tingin mo, pitikin mo lang, tutumban eh. But their contribution to the war is wow. You cannot imagine. Because of their mind. Because of their experience. So, lahat kasali. And huwag kang mag-alala kasi sa training pa lang malalaman ito hindi po pwede ito eh. Baka matalo tayo dahil dito, ililipat ka sa ibang trabaho. Ililipat ka. Pero I'm telling you, everybody will have a role. It's not about for example, during the Second World War. Noong araw, bawal pang makipag-away o makipagbarilan yung mga kababaihan. Diba? Bawal pa. But they have become part of the reserve. And what are they doing? They were building planes. Yung mga tangke, hindi tatakbo yan kung walang kababaihan. May mga partiyan na maliliit na kayang-kaya ng mga babae. Ha? It depends on your skill. So, wag kang kalala na. Basta, everybody must be.
Yes. And I think yung parang to add to that is yung during the World War II, yung parang pineke yung Germany, maraming hinire silang mga actors, nag-hire sila ng mga theater performers, yung ano tawag niyan, yung nagbigay sila ng diversion para makafocus sila doon sa invasion of Normandy. Kasi yung parang rules, di ba? Hindi naman sundalo yung mga nandun, but they were still a part of that. And
they are soldiers, ha?
Yes.
With a different job.
Yes.
Mission.
Kasi po, natanong ko po siya, Sir Gonzales, kasi yung misconception ng karamihan sa atin, especially the youth, ay pagdating pagsabing mandatory militarization, kailangan lang pala, babaril ka lang, assemble ng rifle, gagapang ka, basic training, everything. That's not the case. Di ba?
In fact, nakakapagod yun. Kung yun na lang gagawin mo sa bundok. We're not Spartans,
Yeah.
Sinong araw, wala kang ginawa. Kundi bakit dito, I'm thinking of integrating TESDA into the training.
Oh.
Kasi building the world will be part of our objective in military training. Kasi alam mo, may isang elemento ng military training. It trains you to be focused, to be disciplined. Na kahit na pagod ka, alam mo sa atin ngayon, napagod ka ng kaunti sa kaupo, ayoko na. Hindi pwede, may disiplina ka eh. Ngayon, pasok yung skills, no? So we are building a world. Anong ipinagtatanggol ba natin? Is that something empty? We are protecting our future. We will be building our future, and here comes a country that will disturb that. Why are we standing on our ground? Kasi may malaki kami magandang pangarap eh. O ngayon, kapag nag-iintay tayo ng gera, tuloy ang pag-build ng pangarap. Kaya sabi ko nga, integrate yung TESDA dito sa training. Isasama natin yan. Kung sakasakali, ay biglang nawala yung gera. Di dumami yung carpintero natin, kantero natin, tubero natin. Alam mo, dami gagawin, ha? Mga simple yan, pero sabi nga sa akin ng Norwegian ambassador, sabi niya, nagkamali ako ng trabaho eh. Why? Sabi niya, sana nagtubero na lang ako. Bakit? Sabi niya, $100,000 per hour yung tubero sa Norway. Pero tubero ng kanilang oil rig. Kasi malalaking tubo yun. $100,000 ang sweldo do per hour. Sabi niya, magkano lang kinikita ko bilang ambassador?
Pero I think that's the first time nakarinig ako ng ganyang take on the militarization of the youth, kasi hindi kasi ang nakikita lang pag militarization is conflict but not the innovation ng tao eh. Alam mo,
ang nagpaunlad ng United States is military training. Kung hindi sa space, alam mo, military yan ha. Kung hindi sa space industry, wala tayong cellphone today.
Yeah. Yes.
Wala kang cellphone yan. Lahat ng innovations nanggaling yan eh. Kaya kailangan talaga, the most important aspect of military, not militarization, military training yan. Entering the military service. Sa military service, ang nangyayari dyan, nagkakaroon ka ng this mental attitude. Number one, you love your country so much that in everything you do, you want to excel.
Yes.
The best that you have in your heart and in your mind will come out. Kaya talagang, kailangan manalo tayo. Anong gagawin ko dito sa hawak-hawak kong replay? Mali yata ang itsura nito eh. Ayusin ko nga. Ako minsan, nagpapalaka lang. Kasi nakakapagod sa mga sundalo. Ibotores kaya itong pala. Yung communication natin, kung siya namatay yung isang tropa doon. Kasi hindi naintindihan yung order eh. Gumawa ako ng cellphone. These things happen.
And with that, before I proceed with the last question po pala, Sir Gonzales, isa sa mga natutunan ko sa inyo is that there is a difference between working with using your intelligence versus working based on wisdom. Kasi may mga ibang tao na ang trabaho ay may alam lang siya, pero iba yung tao na may alam talaga. Parang yun yung isa sa mga natutunan ko sa inyo, especially the way you said na yung working behind the scenes. You let people shine, and since those people are shining, lahat tayo madadamay na rin. So that was that was a wonderful learning na natutunan ko. And to end this episode po, Sir Gonzales, what would be your final piece of wisdom na gusto nyong iparating sa ating mga nakikinig na mostly teenagers and young adults?
Alam mo, you start being concerned with your future. Huwag kayong how will you say that? Para kayong natatangay ng mga bagay na hindi naman seryoso in the first place. It will not lead to anything in your future. Alam nyo, kunyari, gusto nating ma-abroad. Gusto nating makita ma-enjoy yung nangyayari sa Singapore, makarating sa Pransya. But I will tell you a secret. We can be more wonderful than those countries if we try. Building the kind of nation we want. Alam mo yung gift na ibinigay sa Pilipinas. Ako, marami akong kwento yung mga dinala kong mga foreigners dito, grabe. Ang effect sa kanila kasi hindi man tayo lahat naniniwala sa Diyos. For some reason, the kind of environment given to us, the kind of geography we were put into, hindi mo maipaliwanag Kunyari, mayroon isang story sa bata na pinagawa ko pagdating nyo, hangang-hanga sa ko, pagkaganda-ganda. Wala naman akong giniligay doon kundi mga nagdaanan lang Tsaka mga dadaanan. What are they saying to be wonderful? Yun ang the serenity of our mountains. Yun ang the greenery of our forest. The air that we breathe. Galing lahat sa Diyos yan bigay sa atin. I am telling the young people, don't waste time. Build this nation to a kind of nation we deserve.
Yung tipong yung ibang bansa na ang magsasabi na gusto kong tumira sa Pilipinas. Hindi na tayo yung magsasabi na gusto kong tumira diyan.
Oo nga, pero kailangan gumastos ka ng dollar para yumaman.
True. Gonna agree. And also pala, gusto ko lang po pala idagdag, sir. Kasi in this generation ng mga kabataan, even na-experience din namin ito, yung tipong, yung the sense of being lost, the sense of losing purpose in life. Pero given all of your experiences, how can one find their purpose? And on your case, based on my observation po, sir, how can someone find their happiness? Kasi the way you talk, the way you present yourself in any forms of interview, napaka-masaya nyo, grounded kayo sa sarili ninyo. How can a person achieve that kind of mental peace that you have right now?
I may have to tell you something very corny. Corny talaga. Pero simple lang. Start thinking of others than yourself. Yun. Yun talaga. Masaya yun. Before you know it, yung sarili mo gumagaling, gumaganda. It is when you are serving others, when you are thinking of their concern, that you get the kind of refinement a human being should have. Yun. Karanasan ko yan Kaya lang corny. Kaya wag mo masyadong uulitin baka sabihin ng mga tao nagiging pari ka na.
Pero it kind of makes sense. Kung tutuusin, it kind of makes sense because you help one people, you help someone, you help everyone. So parang yun yung to bounce back, Spider-Man ko ata nakuha yung quote na yun. You help someone, you help everyone. Kind of makes sense po. And with that said, Sir Norberto Gonzales, thank you so much for your wonderful time in this discussion. And if sa mga nakikinig, if you want to further support the platforms of Sir Gonzales, I will link the Facebook profile, Facebook page para mamonitor nyo lahat ng guestings, mamonitor nyo lahat ng mga platforms, interviews ng ating guest for today. So with that, thank you so much for listening to Chill Talks, and I will see you all next time.